I want you to think about your industry and what you're doing to disrupt it, and about what you're doing to scale your entrepreneurial or family business.
We really want to be that rising tide that lifts all ships within our industry.
Anything that you do, there's going to be some low moments and some hard things that you're going to have to talk through, whether that's like purely a coworker or a coworker who happens to be your spouse.
We want to do this business like Jesus would. So we want to own it like Jesus would and just manage like Jesus would.
We always just note that like it's not for everyone. Some days I think we both agree that we don't think it's for us.
You probably had several inflection points in your business where you realize, hey, this is not just like small family business. We're building something big.
We're going to have a business. We want to do it right, and we want to keep building it.
Being able to provide a lot of value to our end users and have a great employee experience. Such a basic thing, but also it's so different than the standard plastic porta potty. We enjoy learning, so it's a fun thing for us to learn.
But the other joke is that you guys might be number one in the number two business.
Welcome to Disruptive Successor, a show for next generation leaders in family businesses and entrepreneurs who want to disrupt the status quo and take their existing business to a whole new level. We all know that what got us here isn't going to get us there. This show will provide inspiration, advice, and resources to help you create massive impact. This podcast is sponsored by myself, Jonathan Goldhill, and my company, the Goldhill Group, where we provide coaching for growing companies. I'm Jonathan Goldhill, and my purpose is simple: to guide entrepreneurial leaders in family businesses towards more freedom and fulfillment. I want entrepreneurs to get clarity around the changes that will make them and their businesses more successful so they can experience the same freedom I've enjoyed in my life. Our proven practices challenge business owners to think differently about their business and how they're running it, and quite literally become game changers in our clients' companies. Learn more at thegoldhillgroup.com website, where you can schedule your free strategy session.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Jonathan Goldhill here with the Disruptive Successor Show. Today's guests are the inspiring husband and wife duo Grant and Erin Stahla, co-founders of Stahla Services, a premium restroom and shower trailer rental company that's reimagining sanitation with hospitality level service. In today's episode, we'll explore their entrepreneurial journey, how they've made innovations in a traditional industry and grown their family-run business while preserving their values. The Stahlas are also the brains behind Stahla Leads, an online marketplace helping others grow in this niche space. With years of experience navigating leadership, teamwork, and strategic growth, they've mastered the art of building a thriving business in a niche market. As you listen to today's show, I want you to think about your industry and what you're doing to disrupt it, especially if it's a traditional industry, and about what you're doing to scale your entrepreneurial or family business. Grant and Erin, welcome to the show today.
Thanks for having us. Great to be here.
Yeah, pumped to be here.
Awesome. So, I like to always begin each show with the origin story. Start at the beginning. What inspired the launch of Stahla Services? Was this always the plan? And just give us the background. Take as far back as you like.
Yeah, just I started this coming out of college. I was going to the University of Nebraska in Lincoln, Nebraska, and grew up in a family of entrepreneurs. Wanted to start something, and so kind of going through college was trying to figure out what does that look like, or should I try and get a job somewhere else? And so ultimately, definitely was searching for a business, and had someone bring up restroom trailer business. And so I thought it was a really practical and high end and high service business, and just a really neat way to go out and you can visit different people, you can see family when you're traveling, to deliver these units, and so just bought one of those coming out of college and had no clue that it was going to be, where it's at today. But Erin and I both enjoy growing something and making something just a good value to end users. So I think what we figured out is whatever we're in, we'll continuously grow it and try to make it better and more helpful. And so that's a little bit of where it started.
Well, let's put some kidding into the equation here. Your friends in college must have teased you about getting into a blank business. And the other joke, I guess, is I didn't use the word. We're keeping this not explicit. But the other joke is that you guys might be number one in the number two business.
Yep.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Number two, I guess I should say that.
So that's our goal.
But listen, no, in all seriousness, you've really transformed this industry. You've been very innovative. We don't have any images to show people, but people can go online and check you out. But your restroom trailers and sanitation are quite a bit different. They're a bit they don't exactly scream tech forward or sexy to most people, but you guys approach this differently. Tell us a little bit about what someone would expect maybe when they go into a Stahla trailer.
Yeah, so they're basically what we describe as like a hotel bathroom on wheels or your home bathroom on wheels. And it's the solution to the plastic units, the porta potties. So everyone's had a bad experience with those. I think it's safe to say. So this is kind of the solution to needing a mobile restroom, whether it's a Target bathroom remodel, a large event, a wedding in the backyard of your parents' house, but you don't have enough, restrooms for an event like that. That's where these restrooms do come into play mostly. So they're nice countertops, running water, hot water, soap dispensers, paper towels, flushing toilets, air conditioned, heated, there's Bluetooth sound system, and the list kind of goes on. Which, listing each of those things it just sounds like a normal bathroom, right? But picture this, at a construction site, in the middle of a large concert venue, places where you typically would encounter a porta potty, and then you actually open this door and you walk into a normal bathroom. So that's kind of hopefully a good visual painting a picture of what these mobile restrooms really do look like on the inside.
Amazing. And they're for a single person occupant at a time, correct?
Yeah, so you can open the door and it's like you walk into just a normal bathroom. They deadbolt lock, so it's a full bathroom. We have a couple different variations. One is, where you open a door and it's like you go into this full bathroom layout. There's others kind of more like a restaurant layout where you go in and there's a bunch of like little rooms with the toilets that, also deadbolt lock. And then in the middle is the area where you can wash your hands and head back outside. We offer shower trailers, so that's a different format. There's a couple different trailers that offer the full bathroom, so that includes the shower as well, for, whatever needs arise. So there's a bunch of different options, which is really neat.
So how did you land on these ideas? Did you see it in another company or in other companies? Had you been to Los Angeles and been to the film sets where they have mobile trailers and go, wow, we could do this in Nebraska at a construction job? What was the genesis of the innovations?
Yeah. It's funny because it's such a basic thing, but also it's so different than the standard plastic porta potty.
Mm-hmm.
But this industry's been around for probably 40 years. So people have been renting these restroom trailers and shower trailers for a long time. There's been a lot of evolution from then until now of how they're set up and how they can provide the best user experience for people and last the longest. So the first one was just my uncle was a RV dealer, so he bought and sold RVs, and one of the manufacturers, Forest River, actually had a small line where they built restroom trailers. So I was reaching out to him and so talked to the salesperson and built and configured the first one that was a 3-stall restroom trailer back 11 years ago. And so that was sort of the genesis of finding out what is a restroom trailer. Just talking to these salespeople from different manufacturers. This industry is pretty small. There's probably 15 different manufacturers out there currently for all of North America. And but there's trade shows that Erin and I go to, and we can touch and feel and see which models built best by the best people, and then when we're ordering them, we do a lot of due diligence with figuring out where's the highest demand, what do people want, who has the best mechanical system, the plumbing, electrical, HVAC, and layouts, and which trailers tow the best and set up the best and tear down the best. And so we're constantly looking at those things operationally and user experience wise to see, okay, we want to buy this small trailer from Jag Mobile Solutions and this big trailer from Satellite Suites and maybe this handicap accessible trailer from Ultralab. And so we're constantly analyzing and seeing what does the industry look like, because we're the ones maintaining and fixing. We buy them from a manufacturer, and then we spec them out how we want them, like you would if a new vehicle. You can order them and spec it out how you want it. But then if we need to replace a toilet, we're the ones choosing what toilet, or maybe to replace the flooring or cabinets, or so sometimes we have to tear these things down to the studs and rebuild them. And in that case, it's more of a custom deal, but ideally we're buying them and then we're renting them out, and we're having to do minimal maintenance. But of course, there's always maintenance.
Right. So do you have much of an assembly type of or repair facility, a warehouse? But it sounds like that's a small piece of the operation. It's more market driven, customer facing, speccing it out from your suppliers and telling them you want this, that, and the other thing, and having them build it for you.
Correct. Yeah. So they'll build it and then ship it to us. We have large shop spaces where we store, fix, clean, get the trailers ready to go after they come back into the shop from a job, get them ready to go back out. And that's where, we do a lot of the fixes and everything in our shop space, but they come fully assembled and ready to go.
Yeah, it sounds like a fun job to fix that six.
Yeah.
Don't worry, I'm not looking for that. But I'd like to know a little bit, you don't have to divulge too much, but like, what are some of the markets that are have a lot of potential that you're excited about, you're expanding into, or that you're already really very present in? And I don't know, maybe you want to talk a little bit about some of the features that those markets like, if they like something different. So
yeah, we have physical shops in Denver, Colorado, Omaha, Nebraska, and then Kansas City, Kansas/Missouri. And then we have trailers down from in Miami up to Idaho, down to New Mexico, and then everywhere in between. So I think the markets overall it's going to be temperature and climate dependent a lot of times. So we're in Texas in the Panhandle, and it gets hot. So then the air conditioning units are a big deal. But maybe up north in Idaho in the winter, it's a really big deal to have hot water and really well insulated trailers. The cool thing is all of our trailers we buy insulated, and then with great heating systems and then great cooling systems. So we spend the extra money to buy them right up front, and then we're continually making sure that all the systems work and work well, so that if it's -15, it works, and then if it's 120 degrees, it works. And yeah, so that's kind of what we do in different areas. Yeah, they're pretty multi-purpose if you maintain them, if you buy them right, and if you buy them with the right features.
I bet. So at some point, there was probably an inflection point. You probably had several inflection points in your business where you realize, hey, this is not just a mom and pop, like small family business. We're building something big. What, if you can think back to when that moment was, if there was a moment like that, what was going on?
I think we've always built the business in a way. I mean, the whole build to sell, right? That's kind of the idea that people have been going off of lately or in the past few years is like, get this ready to sell, and then you don't have to, but it's at least in a place that's like everything's functioning really well. So that is kind of our mentality, is just always making sure that it's like at its prime. We have never really made the decision to just stay as is or, to go small. Both of us, I think, have a similar mindset of if we're going to do something, we'd like to go all in. And that doesn't mean it has to be the biggest, the fastest, but I think over decades, we want to build something right, and we do want to see it grow. So that's just kind of been the mentality from the beginning when Grant started it all the way up to, when I joined in. It's we kind of joined forces, and I don't know, our thoughts really have remained similar throughout it of, okay, if we're going to have a business, we want to do it right, and we want to keep building it.
Now, I know you're running your company on EOS, which most of our listeners probably know is the entrepreneurial operating system. So I presume, though, when you started, Michael Gerber's The E-Myth was probably a book you read. It sounds like Built to Sell by John Warlow was the book you read. Any other... I imagine those were maybe significant books, but you can correct me. Were there any sort of what were the significant books or thought leaders that had you be thinking in this direction?
Yeah, the E-Myth is awesome. It's a really neat way to think about what are you working on every day, and how do you build a system. Build to Sell was a really neat kind of mentality to think through and thought lesson. And then actually we read that book and we decided that yes, we wanted a bit, like Erin said, we wanted a business that we wanted to be able to sell, just because that's a good business. But we didn't want to sell the business, because reading Truett Cathy's book, kind of just his overview of starting Chick-fil-A up to when he wrote it, which was maybe he was 80 years old or 70 years old or something. And then Hobby Lobby, David Green, he built that and they built that company. And basically, just like Erin was saying, decades on decades on decades, you build a multi-billion-dollar company, which that number is not important to us, but the $1 billion or the $1 billion level of value is really important to us. So being able to provide a lot of value to our end users and have a great employee experience, and just have a really good company where we can help with, there's a need, we're helping to fulfill a need, and we're doing it in a good way with good AR and customer service and marketing and truthful sales and operations that fulfill well and respond quickly. And then good to great, Jim Collins.
I was waiting to see if you'd say that. So
absolutely.
Great. All right. Good reading licks, folks. If you're listening and you haven't read these books, these are critical reading, essential reading if you're growing a small business. All right. So I like the way neither of you are fighting or stepping on the other person's toes to answer the question. So I'm guessing you do a good job of dividing responsibilities. But what's it like running a business as a married couple? And are there lessons learned around working together that you'd share with other couples?
Yeah, I think oftentimes when we're talking to other people about co-owning a business, we run it together, we get a lot of like shocked responses, or, oh, I could never, or we tried that and we stopped within 2 weeks, whatever it is. And I think we always just note that like it's not for everyone. Some days I think we both agree that we don't think it's for us. But, then we get a good solid 8 hours of sleep and then we like it again. So it ebbs and flows, but just knowing like any other thing that you do in life, it is going to have its ups and downs. You go into the office and work a 9 to 5, like you're going to have ups and downs with that as well. So I think people just think if they hit any sort of bump in the road with being married and in business together, it's like, oh man, the world's crashing down and we have to change and we can't ever do this. Just remember that like anything that you do, there's going to be some low moments and some hard things that you're going to have to talk through, whether that's like purely a coworker or a coworker who happens to be your spouse. That's all extremely normal. So we do encourage people. It's really within the last few, I don't know, 100 years, it's been, or even less. That's kind of when you saw couples start to kind of divide and conquer the day, versus you think back and most couples like work together, whether it's farming, ranching, their own store, that sort of thing. So, I think what we're doing is it works really well for what we're doing. We know there's going to be some hard days, but we've sat down and we did go through roles and, we both kind of share marketing, but Grant's head of marketing and he does SEO, SEM. He's working on ad spend and I'm doing content creation and kind of brand strategy. And that works really well for us. And we divide it in a bunch of different ways because we are still a small company. So everyone has to wear multiple hats. And it's not just the two of us that sit down and go through that. Sometimes we have to like really detail things out. But then we translate that to the whole team. So that's leadership team all the way down to our newly hired operations technician. So we try to be really clear on that from top to bottom.
Digging a little bit more into the lessons learned. How much does your faith and your involvement with the church play a significant role in not only keeping your relationship healthy, but also keeping the business so that it doesn't take over your life and there's a balance?
Yeah, it's the core of everything. So we say we want to do this business like Jesus would. So we want to own it like Jesus would. We want to clean toilets like Jesus would. We want to hire and fire, and just manage like Jesus would. And it also provides a perspective of this isn't the most important thing in the world. We do business. Our identity is not just that we're business owners or that we own Stahla Services or whatever. So it's definitely really cool and we enjoy it and we love being able to work on a project like this. But also this isn't our end all be all. So then when we have those pressures of, oh, this isn't going well or oh, this is really going well, it grounds us and provides some perspective. And then I think it really helps with family stuff, with our family, with extended family of friends, with personal. It provides a level of perspective to know that in work time you should work. In our 30s we want to work hard. And when we're in our 40s, maybe that transitions a little bit in 50s and 60s, and then but then after 5 or something on a certain day, then that season of the day is wrapped up. And then we want to focus on us time or, maybe we're both working until 11 PM or something. Just having seasons and having starts and stops and knowing that there is more than this.
Do you think a rules-based approach to Friday and Saturday nights or dinner hours should be, okay, this is a business-free zone. We don't talk about it. What do you think about that as a concept? Or is it something you practically practice or would recommend?
So we've heard a lot of people kind of subscribe to that. It doesn't really work for us. I just we both feel kind of like, oh, geez, if we can't talk about this freely, then what else do you want to know? We spent our day together and I'm not going to tell you what I ate for lunch because we ate the same thing. So it's just those were okay, basically how we differentiate is just one person is just going to have to speak up of hey, sometimes it's for this weekend, let's try not to talk about our team, our business, or anything surrounding that. But everything else is fair game. Or it might just be, 11 at night and it's hey, I really am needing a minute before we're going to bed to kind of decompress. So can we just talk about something else? So that's really how we've done it. And I think it's hard to do the full okay, it's 5:30 now we have to switch out of this mode. That's just really hard to do for me, and then it's hard to do we're both similar in that. But I know there's some people who are like, okay, once we cross the threshold of our home, like everything else we're not talking about. So it really just depends on who you are and what you like. But it was almost more stressful to us even thinking about like, okay, we got to watch the clock. And then, okay, it's Saturday. We really can't talk about any of this, but gosh, that's like all I'm thinking about. And I really need to like have somebody to talk this through with. So
That makes sense.
Yeah.
It was a good police show on Friday nights with Tom Selleck sitting at the head of the table. I don't recall what the show was, but a lot of the family members were involved in the police force. And invariably, it would come around to something that was important going on that they had to talk about. So makes sense. I just want to make one other sort of sharing point for you as well as for our listeners. 25 years ago, I read a case study in a postgraduate business school. It was a Harvard Business Review case study on the company ServiceMaster, which is a very interesting company. And one of their businesses was at the time was cleaning toilets, janitorial services. And ServiceMaster referred to serving Jesus Christ, their Lord. And what was really, this is a great case study in the importance of how strong cultural core values can really keep a business together, the stickiness of the people and the culture, because they were, they looked at cleaning toilets as, cleanliness is next to godliness. And so I think there's some real interesting parallels with your business. It's a great case study if you want to pick it up. So
Yeah, I'd love to read that.
all right. So at some point you realized that you were generating enough leads in your business that you would create this another entrepreneurial business of a lead generation platform for others in the industry. And I want to hear a little bit about the birth of Stahla Leads and what your vision for that business was or is.
Yeah, it kind of came into through our purpose and mission statement of setting the industry standard. So we really want to be that rising tide that lifts all ships within our industry. And then we work with other vendors across the nation all the time. So we work with other pumping companies and porta potty companies and restroom trailer companies and temporary fence companies, generator companies. So it's really fun for us to work with other companies and be a great business vendor. And so with that, Erin and I we think about marketing. And that's kind of our main thing is we enjoy building business. And then within that, we enjoy marketing. And so we have leads that are coming in, and we want to be top of the funnel for the whole industry, and then be able to help allocate those customers that are reaching out to the right business. And so that's what Stahla Leads, which it's StahlaLeads.com. And that's what it is. It's taking these people that reach out that are maybe in California that are looking for a weekend event or wedding, and they need a restroom trailer, and then they can post it to our platform, or they can reach out to us and request a quote from our platform, and then we'll put it on this marketplace. And then the local California companies that are already signed up, they get a notification that said, hey, Joe Bob is looking for a 2-stall restroom trailer 20 miles from your shop. And then they can spend $12, buy that customer's information, and then they can give them a quote. So it's a service where it's for sanitation companies, it's for porta potty rental companies, restroom trailer, shower trailer rental companies. And then they'll sign up and put their vendor profile on there, and that's for free. And then just set a notification of 50 miles from their shop. And then anytime that someone posts a lead, they'll get notified that, hey, do you want to buy this lead for some small amount? It's a tenth of what you'd pay on Google ad spend. So it's one of those things where instead of paying Google for this black hole marketing expense that you don't know what leads are coming in and what's quality or not, and we spend $100 per lead on Google.
Wow.
And that's there's a lot of leads that we can't service because they're out of our service area. So we've spent over $1 million on Google, ads over the last 10 years. And it's really frustrating to us because I would say 70% of those aren't actionable and they're out of our service area. So that's where, we're posting hundreds of leads onto StahlaLeads.com. And then we just want those customers to find a good home. And then we're charging maybe, like I said, it's $12 to go and bid that lead. And then up to 3 vendors can provide a bid. Or the one person it can be one vendor that buys all 3 lead chairs for $36. And then they can get the full access to that lead.
Not surprising. Other companies have developed a similar innovation, and I'm trying to think of the business. It's I think it's Home Advisor, if I'm not mistaken. I think maybe Andy's you might have started out of that kind of a concept.
Yep.
Very cool. And by the way, one of my prior episodes is with a company called Big Rents, which basically is have you heard of them? They're providing rental equipment across the entire country, and they're on the lead and marketing side of the business. So
they're big.
Yep. Yeah. There's when I was in business school many years ago, my professor talked about the corridor theory of entrepreneurship, and his corridor theory was that you're in the corridor, you're going down towards a certain particular customer with a particular offering, and suddenly you open up a door and you see like a much bigger opportunity. And so it's kind of like once you get inside the tent, you realize in the circus, there's other bigger animals like elephants, and so you can go from small game to big game hunting. And so you never really know where your business is going to take you if you're innovative and entrepreneurial. So super. So you're going through EOS. One of the starting points is putting your core values together. Maybe you already had them. There's a whole lot of work. We're not going to talk about how you came upon them. What I want to know is, how do you maintain the core values and the culture across different states and different teams?
Yeah, I mean, that's such a good question. And it's one that we're always trying to figure out how to do this better. Some low-hanging fruit, some obvious ones is we just print out huge posters of the core values and put them in each shop. So whether you want to or not, you're seeing those many times a day. Then it's part of our hiring and recruiting as we talk through those core values. Really within the second and third interview, we go through those. Then it becomes part of the 30, 60, and 90-day review process, talking through like what core value have you resonated with most, in your first 30 days, or the good one is, do you know what our core values are, to kind of kick things off. And sometimes the answer is no, and that's okay. It just can't continue. You just can't continue not knowing. So we just talk about them in the reviews, and then it's part of our trimester conversations that, every 4 months we're kind of talking through like, hey, which core value did you embody the most? Which one do you feel like you can work on? So those are some very practical ways. And then obviously if, as co-owners, if we aren't exhibiting those core values, that they don't mean anything. So really from top down, you have to actually believe in them and you have to live them out, and not just make it something you're talking about, because that won't last long. So it's definitely a journey, and there's a bunch of different ways that you can continue to incorporate them, but that's been kind of some of the biggest ways that we have so far.
Yep. We always talk about it can't be aspirational. It has to be living and breathing in the organization. So let's talk about systems or tools that have been game changers for scaling and maintaining quality. What are some of the things that you care to share that have been game changers for you?
Yeah.
Or must for other entrepreneurs?
That's a good question. Going through EOS, it was interesting to think through what is the accountability chart, or what's the meeting scalability rhythm. And then I think we were probably $1.5 million or $2 million a year when we started with EOS, maybe 5 years ago. And we sort of overbuilt and got top heavy with that, just because there's a person for every role, and yada yada. So So we had to back that down and get a little bit more lean. And so now I think we're focused on finding effective software, but also solutions for each department, whether that's organizational development with hiring or with marketing, with sales. So a lot of time and energy has been spent trying to find the best solutions for that actually provide value and aren't just that shiny object. I've gone through the process of starting to build 10 different websites, and then we started out building for the first 3, and there wasn't traction. So we had to back down into like, okay, we need to make one website really good. We need to make Stahla.com really good. And so I would definitely say website is a really big deal. Our back end, which is HubSpot, and then being able to, or CRM, and then being able to optimize that and continuously work on that to make your CRM work for you. We have another operational system software called Smartsheets, and our CFO is really good at building out Smartsheets. It's like an Excel spreadsheet sort of thing where we can build out our operations. It keeps track of all of our assets and our schedule, our event schedule, and maintenance schedule, and a lot of different things. So that works for us, but it's a software that we found that we could sort of custom build and work for us. And then just AI, just like ChatGPT, Gemini, Grok, and then going into those things, and whatever you go into, being able to either you make it optimized for your company, or you have someone on your team that can make it optimized. We have a website developer that's a vendor. We have a HubSpot developer that's a vendor that we just pay monthly, and we have an call recording service, AirCall, and we swapped from Grasshopper to CallRail to AirCall, and so I'm investing a lot of time in developing that. Erin does all the organizational development software, but I would say like taking time to find those solutions, and then having the energy to like, I need to know it, Erin needs to know it first, and we need to know it forward to backward, and then implement the stuff that's actually going to be useful, and try not to overbuild, but then try to build quickly whatever you're going to need.
Very impressive, Grant. Great answer and very thorough. And sounds like you've done a lot of work in that area. And I imagine similarly, you've done a lot of work with branding to be very intentional about your branding, right? Because this is a commodity-based business, as many are. And to decommoditize your business, you have to be very intentional. So I imagine you put a lot of thought into your brand perception. It's going to affect your growth, and that explains why you are where you are today.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been definitely an evolution. It did not start anywhere close to what it is with the systems. We were just looking down in our shop the other day in one of the filing cabinets, and there's a bunch of just binders full of when Grant was doing the finances and charts, just printouts, and now it's completely different. So it's fun to kind of see like where it started, somebody with a pen and notepad, and then now it's quite a bit different.
All right, let's wrap up with some rapid fire, fun wrap up questions. What's something people totally misunderstand about your industry?
It's not just toilets. I think people just assume it's toilets and that's it, but there's a whole team, a whole organization. It's a large entity that goes behind getting the right toilet that's extremely clean to the right location.
Okay, this one's for you, Grant. What's your favorite road trip snack on the way to check out trailers?
Oh, a good beef jerky. You can't beat that.
Good beef jerky. I like that. All right. This is one for both of you. Who's more organized, Grant or Erin?
I think it's Erin.
Is it me? I feel like it just depends on what it is, but probably across the board I am, but you're extremely organized as well. We both like a good organization system.
All right. One book or podcast that's shaped your approach to leadership.
Ooh, okay. We're big podcast people, so we have a huge list, but we like the Maxwell Leadership Podcast, the Greg Groeschel Leadership Podcast.
Layla.
I listen, Layla Hormozy, her podcast Build. Alex Hormozy.
Yep. Justin Donald,
Yeah.
the lifestyle investor.
Yeah, there's a bunch.
Connie White, Ampar.
You listen to your podcast when you're in your car going or trucks or whatever, going from point A to point B, or is it something you're listening to around the house and or wherever, anywhere else?
All of it. Yeah, we listen to them all the time.
Yeah.
Mowing the lawn, cleaning the house, walking around, delivering trailers, picking them up. We listen to podcasts all the time.
We enjoy learning, so it's a fun thing for us to learn.
All right. So where can listeners follow your journey or get in touch if they want to learn more?
Yeah, Instagram, Facebook. We're on Pinterest. We're fancy. We're on YouTube. So follow us at any of those places.
Okay. And it's Stahla, Stahla Services,
Right.
Stahla Leads, Inc. Guys, it was great having you on the show. I wish you tremendous success in continuing to grow your brand and brands and build them to sell. Folks, if you aren't building your business to sell or to transition smoothly to the next generation, then there's a lot of work that's left to be done. And that's why coaches like me exist, is to help people like you figure out how to make your business more sellable and more transferable. Thanks for listening to the show. And folks, if you got some good value, please give us a good rating on your podcast listening application of choice and share this episode and others with your friends and family.
This podcast is sponsored by myself, Jonathan Goldhill, and my company, the Goldhill Group, where we provide coaching for growing companies. I'm Jonathan Goldhill, and my purpose is simple: to guide entrepreneurial leaders in family businesses towards more freedom and fulfillment. I want entrepreneurs to get clarity around the changes that will make them and their businesses more successful so they can experience the same freedom I've enjoyed in my life. Our proven practices challenge business owners to think differently about their business and how they're running it, and quite literally become game changers in our clients' companies. Learn more at thegoldhillgroup.com website, where you can schedule your free strategy session. Thank you for joining us on the Disruptive Successor Podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe, review, and share with a friend who would benefit from the message. If you're interested in picking up a copy of my book, Disruptive Successor, go to disruptivesuccessor.com.